Have you ever felt like a collector of beginnings? You excitedly buy a new course, start a strict diet, or harbor dreams of a new business. But after just 1 week, it all sits collecting dust in the dark corners of forgotten things. A young potter named Kael faced this exact problem. He could not finish anything he started. His life was filled with half-formed lumps of clay and shattered dreams. But then, an encounter with a reclusive master changed everything. Before we begin, what time are you listening to this? Where are you from? Let me know in the comments below. And please, like and subscribe for more stories like this. Now, stay with me until the end of this journey. It might just change your life forever. Once upon a time, in a peaceful riverside village where kilns burned bright day and night, lived a young potter named Kael. At 26, he was gifted with nimble fingers and a mind overflowing with artistic visions. But Kael had one major problem that troubled him every single day. He could not finish anything. His workshop was a graveyard of abandoned clay. There was a vase without a rim, a bowl without glaze, and a jar without a lid. Every corner held the ghost of a project left in limbo. When villagers asked, "Kael, when will that tea set be ready?" he would offer a strained smile and say, "Soon. I just need to experiment with a different technique first." But soon never came. Promises piled up like heaps of dried-out clay, and his reputation began to crumble. His father, a legendary potter who had passed down every trade secret to Kael, would visit the workshop and sigh in disappointment. "My son," he would say, shaking his head, "a potter is not judged by how many lumps of clay he molds, but by how many vessels he actually places into the kiln." Kael would nod and promise to change. Then, he would start a new project. He told himself, "This time will be different. This tall vase will be the one I complete." His heart filled with hope, but the old cycle always returned. Within days, a new idea would appear, a more beautiful glaze, a more unique shape, and the unfinished vase would join the army of cracked failures in the corner. Month after month, Kael felt imprisoned by his own habits. He was ashamed, yet he couldn't stop. It was like an addiction, beyond his control. The humiliation grew with every abandoned piece. Every night, he lay in bed, crushed by the weight of incomplete things. Guilt sat on his chest, like a heavy stone. He whispered into the darkness, "Why can't I go to the very end? Where is the flaw in me?" The questions echoed, but no answers came. He felt broken. The darkness seemed to mock his failures. One summer morning, Kael received the opportunity of a lifetime. The daughter of a wealthy merchant was getting married, and he wanted a priceless wedding gift, a massive ceramic vase carved with a vibrant, one-of-a-kind phoenix. This was the project that could change Kael's life. The merchant came to the workshop, saw Kael's talent and his unfinished piles. He said, "I know you can create a masterpiece. I will pay you handsomely. I need it in 3 months." His eyes were full of trust, and Kael felt a surge of electricity down his spine. His heart raced. This was the moment. This would be the proof that he could finish. He accepted immediately. His mind soared with images of magnificent phoenix feathers. "This time will surely be different," he promised. For the first 2 weeks, he worked with a burning passion. The vase began to take shape on the wheel. The clay was smooth. The first carvings were elegant. Anyone passing by praised him. "Kael, this will be your legacy." Pride swelled within him. He truly believed he would succeed. But then, he saw a new glazing technique for decorative plates in an ancient book. Just a small experiment, he told himself. I'll finish this plate quickly, then get back to the Phoenix Vase. The voice of temptation whispered in his ear, just this one small thing. You still have plenty of time. The small project became a medium one. Then another idea pulled at him. His focus was torn apart. The wedding vase was neglected. The clay began to dry and develop fine cracks. Time slipped away like dust, and 3 months vanished through his fingers. The wedding day arrived. The vase sat in the corner, unfinished. No neck, no completed patterns. Half of the phoenix was nothing more than faint, blurry outlines. It stood there as a monument to his failure. Kael stood at his workshop door, listening to the wedding fireworks in the distance. The merchant had hired another potter. Kael lost the money and his honor. But worst of all, he lost all respect for himself. This pain cut deeper than anything before. He sat on the dusty floor, surrounded by dried shards of clay, and for the first time, he wept. Not because of a failed project, but because he had failed in the exact same way for so many years. The tears came from a deep place, a place filled with hollow promises. He looked at his hands, hands that could mold beauty, but could never bring it to the finish line. He whispered, I am sick of being the man who almost succeeded. That evening, broken and desperate, Kael walked to a high hill where an old master named Oryn lived. Oryn was famous for 2 things, his flawless vessels and his silence. He rarely spoke, but his words carried the weight of a lifetime. Kael knocked. Oryn opened the door, looked at Kael's swollen eyes, and simply said, Come in. No questions, no judgment. His workshop was small, but perfectly orderly. Every bag of clay was tied tight, every brush was in line, and in the center sat a simple ceramic bowl, exquisite in every curve. The contrast to Kael's workshop was terrifying. Everything here breathed one word, discipline. Kael felt both admiration and intense shame. Master Oryn, Kael said, his voice cracking, I cannot finish anything. I have the talent, I have the ideas, but I never end what I begin. He sobbed. How do you do it? How do you bring everything to completion? Oryn did not answer immediately. Instead, he picked up a lump of moist clay and placed it on the wheel. He sat down, his hands gently smoothing the earth. After a long silence, he spoke. The silence itself was the first lesson. Kael, do you see this clay? Kael nodded. Inside this clay is a cup, but right now, the cup is hidden by the mud. Oryn's voice was steady. My job is to remove everything that is not the cup. He smoothed away a layer of excess earth. If I stop now, it is just a misshapen lump. Useless. Shards of clay fell away. A simple act, yet full of philosophy. He smoothed another round. If I stop now, it is still nothing, just damaged mud. He continued, patient and meticulous. But if I keep going, smoothing away layer after layer, never stopping until the cup emerges, then I have created something whole, valuable, and with a soul. The cup began to reveal itself. Kael watched, unblinking. Oryn looked directly at Kael. Every project has a wilderness period. The beginning is full of excitement, new ideas, new feelings. The end is satisfying. But the middle is where dreams are strangled. He held up the half-finished cup. The middle is tedious and exhausting. You will doubt yourself. Other ideas will seem more glittering. That is when most people let go. But here is the secret, Kael. Oryn paused. Finishing is not a matter of motivation. Motivation will vanish. Finishing is about the commitment to the process, even when it is no longer interesting at all. These words exploded in Kael's mind. Motivation was not the answer. Oryn placed the clay in Kael's hands. For the next 30 days, I want you to do things differently. Pick one project, only one, the smallest, simplest thing in your workshop, and make a promise. You will touch it every single day, even if only for 10 minutes, until it is done. Even when you are bored, even when it is no longer attractive, even when a more brilliant idea demands your attention. End quote. He emphasized, finish one thing, Kael. Just one. Because the person who can finish a small thing can finish anything great. Those words soaked into Kael's heart like water on dry soil. He returned home, holding that lump of clay like a treasure. He looked at the ruins of his workshop and picked one piece, a small ceramic plate he had abandoned long ago. It only needed a few more steps. This one, he said. I will finish this one. The next morning, before laziness could take hold, he worked on the plate for 10 minutes. Exactly 10 minutes. It wasn't exciting, but he did it. He stopped when the timer rang. A small victory, but a real one. Day 2, day 3, still 10 minutes. The process was simple, but maintaining it was the real battle. Every day he had to choose, keep the promise or surrender again. On the 5th day, a brilliant idea for a tea set appeared. His hands itched to start it. The temptation was immense, but he remembered Oryn. He continued to touch the plate instead. The temptation was strong, but his promise was stronger. Some days he worked for 10 minutes. Some days, once he started, the momentum carried him for an hour. But he never missed a single day. Rain or shine, tired or healthy, inspired or not, he showed up. Consistency was becoming his new identity. By the 12th day, a shift occurred. The plate was nearly finished. He could see the destination, and he felt something lost for a long time. Pride. Not the pride of starting, but the pride of not giving up. This feeling was much more solid than initial excitement. On day 18, he glazed the final surface. On day 23, the plate was finished. Kael placed it on the table and stared. It was simple, but it was complete. Perfect. He stroked the glossy surface. Every millimeter on it was a story of commitment. He felt a powerful sense of release within. Tears fell again, but they were tears of victory. For the first time, he understood he wasn't flawed. He just needed to learn, to go to the very end. The long-held burden was gone. He was free. He chose a second project, then a third. Always the same rule. Touch it every day until it is done. No jumping jobs, no abandoning midway. The process worked. With every finished piece, his confidence thickened. The potter, who couldn't finish anything, was becoming the man who could finish everything. Kael's workshop was transformed. The graveyard of dried clay vanished, replaced by completed works. Villagers asked in awe, "Kael, what changed you?" His reputation was rebuilt, one finished vase at a time. 6 months later, the merchant returned. "Will you still make me that Phoenix vase for my second daughter's wedding?" He was still skeptical. Would Kael abandon it? Again, Kael smiled. "Yes, and this time, I will finish it." His voice was like steel. He had proven it to himself dozens of times already, and he did it. That Phoenix vase was magnificent, for it was molded not just with clay, but with iron commitment. My friend, Kael's story is the story of us all. It is about dusty dreams and projects left hanging in the messy middle. The truth is, finishing is a skill, not a talent. You can learn it. Every task you complete strengthens your finishing muscle. Remember 3 things. First, the middle is always harsh. It is not the time to stop. It is the time everyone who succeeds must cross. Do not fear the boredom. Second, finished is better than perfect. One complete cup is worth more than 10 great vases that only exist in your head. Action defeats all intentions. Third, touch it daily, even for 10 minutes. Consistency is the rock. Motivation is just the tide. Small steps every day create massive results. My challenge to you: look around your life at your unfinished plans. Pick the smallest one. Promise that for the next 30 days, you will touch it for 10 minutes every day until it is done. Make it real. Make it unavoidable. Responsibility will turn intention into reality. The moment you finish one thing, you prove to yourself that you can finish, and that changes your entire future. You are not a person who cannot finish. You are just someone learning how to finish. Today, take back that power. 10 minutes a day, one project, until completion. If this story gave you strength, please like and share. Comment the one project you will finish in the next 30 days. Let us hold each other accountable. I will return with new lessons. Until then, remember, stop starting new things. Start finishing